Hi guys, welcome back to Harrison's Favorites. Today we are doing week 6 predictions. It's been crazy games last week, and there's some good news for Oklahoma fans and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that happened last week and some crazy upsets, like a bunch of upsets that happened last week. So I'm very excited for this week, so let's get into our predictions. Alright, our first game is BYU versus West Virginia. West Virginia got blown out the last 2 weeks. So, sorry, Granddad, but I got to take BYU here, especially because it's at BYU, so I'm taking BYU to win. And our next game is Kentucky versus Georgia. Man, I was convinced that Georgia was going to beat Alabama last week, but they really saw it. I mean, they had a touchdown, but they dropped it, and they also didn't take their field goal, and they went for a 4th and 1 at like the 20-yard line and got stuffed. So they had multiple chances to win that game. They should have won that game, but Alabama looked very good out there, and I'm actually very shocked on how Alabama's been playing this year. So they've been kind of up and down, but they're trending towards the good area. So I'm taking Georgia to easily win this one at home versus Kentucky. Kentucky's probably the worst team in the SEC, so I'm taking Georgia. Our next game is Iowa State versus Cincinnati. This game's actually going to be really close, I think. I was surprised that Cincinnati was favored to win this game, but I'm still taking Iowa State. I know it's at Cincinnati, but Cincinnati hasn't been that good. I mean, they did beat Kansas on the road, which was very shocking. I was very surprised by that. I thought Kansas was going to win for sure. And yeah, I think that it's going to be a close game, but I got Iowa State to win by probably a touchdown, so I'm taking Iowa State to win. And our next game is Wisconsin versus Michigan. This is going to be a pretty easy one. I think Michigan's going to dominate Wisconsin because Wisconsin doesn't really have an offense, so I'm taking Michigan easily. Our next game is Illinois and Purdue. I was very shocked that Illinois won. I can't tell if Illinois is just good, but Indiana's just that good, or Illinois is like good but not as kind of what we think they are before this week, and USC is just kind of bad. So we don't really know. Illinois is kind of a mystery because they got blown out by 53 the week before, and then they somehow beat USC at home. So I don't really know how to feel about their team, but I'm taking Illinois definitely to beat Purdue here at Purdue, so I'm taking Illinois to win. Our next game is Penn State versus UCLA. UCLA is probably the worst team in the Big Ten. They're 0-4. Nico Amiliava, whatever his name is, has not been good, and he made a huge mistake going from Tennessee to UCLA because the only reason he left Tennessee is because he wanted more money, but he actually got less money at UCLA, and I thought UCLA was going to be kind of a dark horse this year, but they have been the opposite of that. So I'm taking Penn State easily, and Penn State almost came back last week versus Oregon. That was a crazy game. I was watching that and an Alabama game at the same time, and yeah, Oregon played really good. I mean, it was a slow game at first, but second half offenses were better, and Drew Aller proved me right again that he's not as good as everyone thinks he is, and that James Franklin can't win a big game even if it's a wideout. And Oregon proved me right that they just don't really win big games. It's not what they do. So I mean, now Penn State's got to really basically win. They can only lose one more game or they're not gonna make the playoffs. So. But they're definitely going to beat UCLA here, so I'm taking Penn State. Our next game is Texas versus Florida. This game's going to be very interesting. I don't really know how this is going to go because, both offenses have been pretty bad. Both quarterbacks been struggling. At the Swamp, it's going to be very tough for Arch to go in there, but Arch already has experience on the road. He went to the Horseshoe at Ohio State, so I think he's going to be kind of ready for it this time, and I don't think he's going to play that good. I think the defense is going to kind of carry them this game, but I'm still taking Texas to win. It's going to be a very low-scoring game, though. Our next game is Alabama versus Vanderbilt. College game day coming to Alabama. This is going to be a good game. And I think that Alabama's going to win this one. I mean, they're 11-point favorites, which is kind of crazy, but I do think Alabama is going to win pretty good here, so I'm taking Alabama. And our next game is Boise State versus Notre Dame. This is going to be, I think, a solid one, but I think at the end, Notre Dame is just going to be too much, so I'm taking Notre Dame to win. And our next game is Virginia versus Louisville. I'm taking Louisville to win this. Virginia just won at they just won versus Florida State, which is a huge upset. I was not expecting that, but I'm gonna take Louisville here at home. They're 6.5 favorites. I'm taking Louisville to win. Our next one is Oklahoma versus Kent State. We're definitely gonna win this one easily, and Michael Hawkins is gonna make his first start of the season, and I think he's gonna do very good against this Kent State team. We play Texas next week, so it's gonna be a big game. John Mateer is 100% going to be back by then, so I'm very excited for that. Heard stuff on TikTok, and yeah, it was confirmed, so it's actually true. I didn't think it was true at first, but yeah, he's going to play versus Texas next week, so very excited for that. I'm taking Oklahoma to win here easily over Kent State. And our next game is Texas Tech versus Houston. This could be maybe an upset game at Houston, but I'm taking Texas Tech here pretty easily. Our next game is Minnesota versus Ohio State. I'm taking Ohio State here pretty easily. Minnesota did beat Rutgers last week. I thought Rutgers was actually going to win. Had them in my pick 'em, but yeah, I'm taking Ohio State at home here. The game versus Washington pretty much went how I expected it to. I thought that it was going to be kind of close in the first half, but Ohio State was going to be too much, so I'm taking Ohio State to win. And our next game is Miami versus Florida State. This would have definitely been game day, but Florida State couldn't beat Virginia last week. They lost in double overtime last week, so Miami's been very good this year, and I think they will continue to be that good. So I'm gonna take Miami at the road in a rivalry game at Florida State. It's gonna be tough, but I'm taking Miami to win. And our last game for Week 6 is going to be Mississippi State versus Texas A&M. Mississippi State lost in double OT to Tennessee. That was a great game, and Tennessee barely pulled out the dub. And Texas A&M defense played great against Auburn, but their offense looked a little shaky. So we'll see how they bounce back offensively versus Mississippi State. So I'm still gonna be taking Texas A&M to win. So well, that's it for my predictions. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and make sure to keep those horns down. Bye.